They are engineers in profession, but since they served the U.S. military during the First World War, so they call them corps engineers. So they assigned 2 corps engineers, Engineer Lyman Cannon and Engineer Franklin Guy Haight to build the Cannon Road. So, but apay na kini Cannon lang, nakapangalan yung Cannon Road because Franklin Guy Haight got sick before the completion of Cannon Road. He got sick of early stage pulmonary tuberculosis. Oo, may agas si TB. Wala pang gamot ang TB. If you remember, the late President Manuel L. Quezon died of tuberculosis. Anyway, kaya tayo may Quezon Institute dati. Anyway, he didn't like to go back to the States anymore. So he decided, if I die here in the Philippines. But the doctors advised him. So the doctors were very wise. They were good. When they gave the advice to him, go and find a place that is cold because the tubercle bacilli does not multiply in cold temperature, and of course the place is elevated very high. So if the higher the elevation, the lower the oxygen concentration. So if the oxygen concentration is low, the tubercle bacilli dies. Imagine no medication, but they just used the environment. So he was treated. He got cured of tuberculosis. But anyway, we do not know how many days did he hike, did he ride the horse, looking for a cold place. Ang kasama niya was a 15-year-old boy. His name is Selo. He's a Igorot guy from Kapangan. So when they reached this place, he fell in love with the place and he declared it as a homestead. Kasi it's a plateau on top of a mountain. So under the homestead law, an individual can declare 24 hectares to be his property. So totoo pala yung sabi nila nung unang panahon na hanggang saan yung abot ng tanaw mo, pwede mong bakuran.
So,
Heights place. Except that area there. Yes, except that. Yeah, but this here, on the other side, we are all cousins.
it's so good. Ilang hectares?
30. We're naka 68. Nadagdagan pa after the Second World War.
Ano yung may papers, no
Meron na.
titles?
We have titles.
Wow.
We have titles.
Pero noon, para lang
Parang ano lang, yung just
Mutata yung
ano ka, pwede mo lang bakuran. But of course, you'll have to work on its legalization. Papaitan mo. So, actually, the title of the 24 hectares is so big. Tapos nakasulat doon, United States of America. Tapos, it has like, the wordings are in Spanish. Ngayon. So anyway, syempre, years went on, nadagdagan kami ng nadagdagan, di paliit na paliit kasi nadi-distribute.
Nahati-hati.
So actually, you pass through that area where there's the greenhouses na nalawa dyan eh. May malawak na may greenhouses. Mga pinsan na namin yun. So from that point hanggang dun sa kabila. Anyway, so while he was here, he has been communicating with his parents in the United States. He has been asking his parents to send him seeds of all the vegetables that are growing in Benguet today. Actually, he started the vegetable industry. So he taught the men who worked for him how to raise the vegetables properly. He gave them seeds that they planted in their own farms. Nag-spread na yan to the other communities. That is why in the museum of the Benguet capital, he has a plaque there being the father of Benguet agriculture. So if the landmark of Burnham is Burnham Park, Cannon's landmark is Cannon Road, wherever. Franklin Guy Haight's landmark is the entire vegetable industry of Benguet. Because yan ang kinabubuhay namin dito sa Benguet ngayon, the vegetable industry. So, yung kasama niyang si Selo has always been with him, whom he eventually adopted. So, yung kasama niyang galing ng Cannon is Selo Haight already kasi inadapt niya. And then, kinausap niya yung mga locals dito, nagpapahanap pa siya ng isang lalaki, same age as Selo or younger, para dalawa sila na aalagaan niya. Ang dinala, 15 years old girl. So, he did take care of that girl for 3 years. Siyempre, they have to communicate, so she has to understand English. proper housekeeping, hanggang personal hygiene siguro, no? Hanggang sa ang galing na niyang magluto ng pagkain ng Amerikano at mag-ayos ng bahay. When she turned 18, he married her.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so her name is Susie. Sabi namin, baka siya rin ang nagbigay ng Susie na pangalan. Baka ayaw niya yung Igorot name or he could hardly pronounce the Igorot name. So he named her Susie. So this is Susie. Yes, you can come here. So ito si Susie, no? So Susie and Frankie and I had 4 children. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is this is Margaret. The youngest is William. William is my great-grandfather. Yes, William here is my grandfather. So when William grew up, he's this. Ito siya. So this picture was taken before the Second World War. My grandmother is from Sagada. The baby here is my dad already. Like second generation na ito. Kasi yung youngest doon, ito na siya. Yes, so yeah. And of course, si Selo, whom he eventually adopted, got married already at the time then. So it looks like naunang nagkaroon ng mga anak si Selo. Si Selo, hindi na lang siya basta adopted because itong wife niya is the pamangkin ni great-grandmother. So yung mga anak ni Kitty at saka ni Selo, may bloodline na. Oo. So yung may-ari ng Northern Blossom is the great-granddaughter of Selo.
Talaga?
Yes.
Small.
Pamangkin din namin yun. Oo. So, actually, yung eldest na anak ni Selo, ang grandmother niya. So, yung mana ng grandmother niya, nabigay sa kanya. Ninana niya, yung farm niya na yun, 1 hectare yung binigay ni Auntie Geraldine sa kanya. So, that's, hindi. Siyempre, yung lola niya, pinamana niya kay Manong Julio. Julio is the father of Lani. Oo. Tapos nung namatay si Manong Julio, nabigay kay Lani. So that was only 1 hectare. Kaya lang, nung magbenta yung mga uncles niya, na may ang property nila malapit dun sa father niya, siya na ang bumili. Kaya naging malawak.
Kasi incredible din, no?
Mga 3 hectares na din siguro. Kasi binili na niya from uncles. Kami dito, bawal magbenta ng lupa. Kasi maswerte ka na at meron ka na ng lupa. You should turn it down to the next generation. So, yeah, it is only within the family. Oo.
Pero wala.
So, ganun, nabili niya sa uncles niya. Flower girl ko yun nung kasal ko.
Bata pa mo siya.
Well, she was 4 years old that time. Anyway, so ito si Kitty, yan si Selo. Nung lumaki yung mga anak ni Susie, ito siya. So, yung girl na yon, ito na. So, ito ang lola ni Catherine, yung pinsan ko dyan sa counter. Tingnan yung features niya, American pa rin. Ito si, the rest are Selo children because Selo had 10 children sa Kapulo. Yeah. And there's only one surviving na anak ni Selo ngayon, si Auntie Ethel Amistad. Sila yung Amistad sa Camp 7. Camp 7. Auntie Ethel has 19 children. Kasi 9. 19. She has 19. And she's 93 years old already. So ito si Grandma Susie when she turned 60. And this is how she looked like before she died. She died only in 1981. Ang haba ng buhay, tingnan mo, mula ganong itsura, o ganyang itsura, umabot siya ng ganyan. Naturuan pa nga yan. She was 106 years old. Yes. She didn't turn the 90. Nung na-stroke na lang siya, saka lang medyo nag-ano yung pag-iisip rather. But earlier, hindi. She was not. Naturuan pa nga niya yung panganay na anak mo ng nursery rhymes. Patakit. She was very American. Anyway, this was their first family house. Kung titingnan mo, at that time, malaki ang bahay na yan. No? Kasi nga 10 ang anak ni Selo. Yeah. And then my great-grandfather also was the first one to build an inn here in Benguet. Because in the past, ang mga travelers are hiking or on horseback. Kung saan sila inabutan ng pagod, doon na lang natutulog. So he built an inn because at those times there were already foreigners coming in, going Ifugao, going further mountain province. Kasi ang Thomasite school, one of the Thomasite school at those times daw, was in Besao. Besao is a mountain province. Althawasay teachers were the ones who taught English during those times. So, mga naglaing na mag-English dyan. Yeah. Anyway, so he built an inn. So, this was the inn he built. Now, if you look into this riprap wall, dahil yung bato-bato, siya pa rin yan. Ito. Itong wall na ito dito sa baba. Yeah. That's so this house was up there. But these houses were all burned during the Second World War kasi tumira yung mga Hapon dito. Siyempre, nung dumating yung mga Hapon, great-grandmother, they went to hide in other places na. Yung lola ko, dinala naman niya yung mga anak niya sa Sagadaw. No? So the Japanese stayed here for 3 years daw. Ginawa nilang garrison. So this was burned. But of course, it was not the Americans for sure because, you know, it's an American property. Baka yung mga guerrilla. Yeah. So nothing was left except the chimney of their fireplace. Namin yung chimney na yan sa taas. Napakataas na chimney. No, kaya lang, na-survive niya yung 1990 Great Earthquake, but the following year, may malakas na bagyo gumuna na uga ng earthquake. Walang simento yan, mud and stone lang. No? But look, maganda yung pinanggalingan niyang bahay. Anyway, after the war, people came back to their properties. Wala nang bahay si great-grandmother. So they have to build her a house. This was the house they built for her, 1945. The war was done 1945. So, di hawak naman mas maganda yung mga bahay nila earlier. So this was her house. This house is this house. It's this house now, na-repair na namin. So, yung mga poste na yan, siya pa rin ang nandiyan sa ilalim. Yes, this wall was saved from this house and the floors of the rooms. No, this is not, hindi, bago na ito. Oo, nag-rock DJ ko may. So this one is new. Pero yung rooms, the 3 rooms, yung floors noong galing dito, the window frames come from this house too. So ito. So this was, so anyway, ito yan ang naging bahay ni great-grandmother after the war. I also have here, I have here diaries of General Cameron William Forbes when he was the Governor General of the Philippines during the American period. And if you remember, the seat of the Philippine government at that time then was Camden Hay. Because Camden Hay, Numalabito, used to be a military house, military camp, which they transformed into a military recreational facility later. So Forbes here, of course, was staying in Camden Hay. He came to Haight's Place in May 16 until May 17, 1911. I have these diaries. Then he came back in May 22 and stayed until May 23, 1913. So he came twice. And sabi ni Forbes dito, the travel from Baguio to Haight's Place was 1 day on horseback. Poor horse. 1 day. Yes. And then he said he loved coming to Haight's Place because the food is good. The vegetables are fresh from the market, from the farm, and they also raise animals for meat. Kasi their food in Camden Hay was raised from military camp. So that's yun. Kanunda. Anyway, and then, their beds are the cot beds, the canvas stretchers. But when he comes to his place, he is comfortable in his inn. And ang dinadaanan nila noon was the Spanish Trail. So if you could just remember, ang kalsada hanggang Baguio lang. So La Trinidad was all trail all throughout, no? So dito sa Atok, merong ginawa ang Spaniards na trail. You pass by the half tunnel. Yes, the Spanish trail is on the other side of that mountain. That's a solid rock mountain actually. Kaya, so before you reach the half tunnel, di ba, may gasolinahan, may mga bahay-bahay. Yun ang entrance papunta to the Spanish Trail. And then it comes out here. Lalabas dito. Oo, lalabas din dito. So, napakadelikado rin ng trail na yun because you're passing through the edge of the mountains.
Marami yung nagkakit doon.
Meron din. So, ano ngayon, may ginawa din ang Spaniards na tunnel. It was ganito lang siguro from here to there para naman may masilungan ang mga tao pag umuulan or baka talagang imposible na malakaran mo on the side. No? But my great-grandfather travels a lot because he brings his vegetables to the city na ang bumibili rin ay mga kapwa niya Amerikano. At saka yung pagkain nila sa Camp Chanhae. Anyway, kinausap niya yung mga tao doon. Sabi niya, you help me, I will engineer 2 more tunnels para maging safer ang ating daanan. So he engineered 2 more tunnels longer than what the Spaniards made. So at least naging safe yung daanan nila. Oo. At sabi pa na ikwento ni great-grandmother, if they have packages coming from the United States, he picks it up from Puro Point in San Fernando, La Union. So it is, kasi kapag, if he goes to Baguio, 3 days, kasi 1 day going, 1 day selling and buying, another day coming home. But when he goes to La Union, in San Fernando, that is 7 to 10 days coming. And it is in San Fernando, La Union, where he can buy sacks of salt. Salt was a luxury pa noong panahon.
Parang gold
Parang
spices.
gold ang asin. So, kasi syempre, may mga baka silang pinapakain ng salt. And of course, aasinan din nila yung meat. Kasi wala pang kuryente. So, aside from salting the meat, one way daw of preserving their meat before, kapag nagkatay ng isang baka, merong board daw na ganito siguro kalaki. Tinatakpan nila yung meat ng jute sack, no? Tapos may pulley, yung wood. There's a certain spot and a tree in the forest, inaakyat nila yung meat. Isang buwan hindi nasisira yung meat. Kasi it's maybe because it's cold, no? In the forest, it's really cold hanggang, And aside from that, the trees or the plants in the forest, baka may iniimit, no? Parang pag-preserve din. So, look at how difficult their life was before. That was nice. So, that's frankly, that's for force. And anyway, Franklin Gaye got, he was cured of tuberculosis. But he had like a type of cholera somewhat during those times because ang dreaded na diseases noon was flu. If you remember yung Spanish flu, yung Spanish flu, and then cholera, flu, TB, yun ang mga sakit na kinakatakutan. So he was cured of tuberculosis, but he had like a certain kind of dysentery daw, sabi ng Forbes then. So, he died June 25, 1925, no? But the U.S. government did not allow him to be buried here. The U.S. government said they are part of history. That is why at the Baguio Cemetery, next time siguro if you visit the Baguio Cemetery, di ba yung entrance doon na kung saan sila nagmimisa ng All Saints Day? Dito lang sila sa baba. That portion there, puro American soldiers ang nakabury doon. So, doon siya. But for great-grandmother, before she died, binili niya na pag namatay ako, I want to be buried up there. Because here in Benguet, that's the custom. Kung saan yung lote mo, doon ka mag-bury. Hindi problema kung saan ka. Huwag ka nang bumili ng memorial plan. So anyway, siya yung nasa taas. And then she said even na yung mga susunod na mamamatay, dyan kayo sa baba. Kaya doon nga. Sa ngayon may ginagawa silang nicho. We have a pamangkin, yung anak ng isang first cousin ko. I was actually with him at the ICU the other day when he died. He has lupus. He's only 42 years old. Kaya, ang weight niya is going on at St. Peter's sa Marcos Highway, but they bring him home on Saturday. He will be there. Because that is our family's image. So lahat ng hate that is pwedeng taon. So, ito, sabi niya, so at least, no, gusto niya siya sa taas, matriarch, no? Anyway, and, going back to this, how did I get Forbes diaries? Bakit ako may Forbes diaries? I have a cousin in the States, yun ang aunt talaga nito namatay. She's a researcher. One day she was at Harvard. No, inside Harvard is the Houghton Library. It's a historical library daw. Accidentally, yung binabasa niyang libro, ang kinukwento, sabi niya sa amin naman itong kinukwento ni Forbes dito sa diaries niya. So nakapagpaalam siya sa Houghton na ipa-photocopy na, and then she emailed it to me. So ito yung mga galing sa Harvard. I place it in a frame para hindi mawala. And pinari-encode ko na lang kasi this is too difficult to read. Makinilya ngayon nagbabasa.
Oh,
Yeah, makinilya pa ito. But for sure, handwritten yung siguro yung original na minakinilya na lang ng mga historians. Kaya yung mga ito, may tatak siya na it is from the collections of the Houghton Library, not to be reproduced or what. So copyrighted. Anyway, so that's how I got that. And before we got these pictures, we did not know how our great-grandfather looked like. Basta alam namin, Amerikano, Amerikano man naman ang apelyido namin. Good thing, no? Noong 1979, there was a Belgian priest from Corey, Pennsylvania. He came to visit the Catholic school here. Ang mayor ng Atok noon, yung dad ko, si Susan Haight, yung baby doon, no? So sabi nung pare, yung Haight na apelyido na yan, meron doon sa tinitirahan ko sa Corey, Pennsylvania. Pinagsulat niya yung sister ko, who was third year high school then, ng write-up that looking for our roots. Dinala niya yung write-up, pinablish niya sa newspaper sa Corey. Ito yun. So it says here, roots, Filipino girl wretches but for Corey relatives. So ito yan. Siyempre nakapublish, may nakabasa. After 1 month, may dumating sa father namin na letter from an 84 years old lady. Her name is Margaret Malona. She said in her letter, to prove that I am a relative, I'm sending you back the pictures that Uncle Guy has been sending my mom. So pinicture-picturean niya yung mga yan, pinapadala, tinawag ako ng sister. Nung namatay yung sister, yung pamangkin ngayon ang nag-take care sa pictures, siya yung nagpapasa nito. So we're very thankful to that priest. Kasi naibalik. Nung dumating yung mga pictures na yan, ganito ang sizes. Thinner than this. Parang newspaper. Tapos nagdidilaw-dilaw na yan, no? So we thought na, ay naku, paano natin? Ano kayang gagawin natin dito? But good thing at that time, we have friends, they are UP professors, UP Baguio professors then, who were doing a research here. 2 of them are very good photographers. I do not know if you ever heard of Benji Abilera, anak ni Dr. Abilera, and Julius Mendoza. So those guys were the ones who, this was done 1980 Sila pero nakita nila ito noong 1979. No? So they were the ones who restored this, no, from that small thing. No? But mga kaibigan namin sila, pero ang mahal pa rin talaga ng binayad dito. But we're happy, no? At least, no?
Ngayon mo, pwede nang i-restore yung
Kaya, sabi namin, may mga guests na pag nagkukwenta ko, no? May magsasabi pa na oh, ma'am, pwede mo pang pa-upgrade yan. What do you mean upgrade? Pakuluran. Pakuluran ko daw. So what you said, why? Ang ganda na size. So anyway, kung tinitingnan natin yung mga pictures na yan, meron silang background na forest. So that's the same forest there. That's our watershed. Diyan nanggagaling ang tubig namin. So nag-water pump kami, so nagpapabayad kami ng tiisbo. Kasi gumagasta kami ng gasolina para magpaandar ng water pump so that the water would go up the tank. Supplies the house. And of course, we use it for watering. Ngayon, panay ang bilig dyan sa ating vegetable farms. Anyway. So, galing lahat yan. And pwede niya nagdata yung nagpakas Jamie. Malagi pulangan ni Josie Espino nga, maglalaka tayo dyan. Takot siya daw yung mababa. Kung nakat ay awanan na ito Amerika. Anyway, kung tinitingnan din natin itong picture doon sa top, si Franklin Gahey, he has a carabao. Tapos that is like pulling a big log. Because how did he build houses? Where did he get lumber na nagaramid isuna sa sawmill? That's also what Forbes was saying there. So, but we know that he made a sawmill kasi when we were young, you will get stung if you go to that part of the property. Basta bilin nila, awanti mapanid dyan, mabaot mapanid dyan. Kasi if accident happens, wala ka na, they cannot even find you. It was too deep and very strong ang flow ng water and there are big stones. Sabi nga ni Forbes yan sa diaries niya, Franklin Galley was intelligent and a visionary. I mean, he envisions what he wants to happen in the future of what is going to happen. So, ayun, nakagawa. Sabi niya, though he's an engineer, he never had an experience building solid in the United States. It was maraming gamit. Dito nakagawa siya just using stones and water. So that's how he built the houses. Yeah. And then, of course, the Americans again had seen the necessity of building more roads going further north. So inassign ngayon itong si Engineer Halsema. So that is one of his Halsema Highway. Yes. And Halsema has been staying with my great-grandfather here. Ang plano daw noon ng US government, the road should have been from the Spanish Trail, from kilometer 46, going up the Spanish Trail up here. The road should have been up here. That was the plan of the US before. So Halsema was here with my great-grandfather. Of course, he came ahead. He knows the terrain better. So siguro nakukulsutahan. So they had good company. Well, anyway, because they're both engineers, not one day, nag-away daw itong dalawang Amerikano. Grabing away daw. Sa galit ni Halsema, binaba yung kalsada sa baba. Oo. So grabing away daw yun. But you see, to us now, that was a blessing in disguise. Because if the road passed here, baka wala na itong mga ito. Puro na yan, puro commercial buildings, mga kung ano na. So it's a good thing they had a fight. Buti nag-away sila. So that is why that is called the Halsema Highway. Yes.
One of the most dangerous daw.
Yes, the most dangerous in the whole world. I know, yes. Before, travel from Baguio to here was 3 hours. It's not as wide as that. And it is not cemented. So during rainy days, it's muddy and you expect landslides, so your trips will be delayed. And if it is on summer, dusty naman yan. So bandana ka, travel ka. Nagtangtong tuloy ka buso mo ka lang ganun yun. Anyway, so that is how it was before. So, yan ang ng Halsema na yan. So that is, you're right, that is the one of the most dangerous roads in the world. Yeah, but because I have here this one. This is an evidence that we were the first in here. No, they call this place pala Mountain Resort Haight's Place. So this is a letter. This was a letter of a guest that stayed here at Haight's Place. Na she's writing this letter to her friend in Manila. I think the lady is a European. So she's yung friend niya dapat kasama niya but she was not able to join her. So inaano niya yan. And the address is Pasay, Rizal. So the name of the friend is Miss Gloria Alvarez. 25555 Taft Avenue Boulevard, sabi pa. Tapos may Manila, na-cross out yung Manila. Ang nandiyan dyan is Pasay, Rizal. Actually, the first time I read this, sabi ko, hindi kaya ito mali. Bakit Pasay, Rizal? Bakit hindi Metro Manila? Because in the past pala, lahat doon was Rizal Province. Caloocan, Makati, and all of that. Yes, they were all Rizal Province. So katulad din natin, we were Mountain Province before. It was like Benguet Mountain Province. Ito, it has always been until we all became, all the towns in this area became Benguet Province, that became Kalinga, that became, but that was done before. That's why we had Biba, Benguet, Ifugao, Benguet, Bontoc, Apayao, Kalinga. So that's why we have the Biba before. Now it is CAR. Cordillera, autonomous region na. Oo, may autonomous na tayo. So, sabi ko nga dito is Mountain Province, Philippines, the highest point of the Philippine road system. But of course, we know that it's 7,400 feet from sea level. But that's not the highest point anymore. They built another road in Tino, Ifugao. So, yun na yun. So, magaling yung researcher namin. Nagkag-adwa, bibirukan na kung ano yung nakukuha. So, anyway, Yung Sakura Park naman na yan, 7 years ago was the 40th anniversary ng sisterhood friendship ng Kochi, Japan at ng province of Benguet. So, because they have an exchange program in agriculture. Actually, yesterday, the Japanese were here because they are renewing the memorandum of agreement with the Department of Agriculture of Benguet to continue the program of bringing young farmers to Japan to work and to train. May pinalunch kami mga kakumito kahapon. Anyway, so to commemorate the 40th sisterhood anniversary, gusto ng kung magtanim ng cherry blossom trees. Very symbolic ka pala ang cherry blossom trees sa kanila. So, they went around Benguet, wala silang makita that where cherry blossom trees to be planted. But when they came here, sabi niya, here we can plant it here because the elevation is high and the temperature is low. So it's not, we feel cold, but this is not yet cold because there are days that our temperature goes down to 5. So kapag 5, may frost na yan. But if it goes 1 or -1, yung dew nagiging crystal na, hindi na lang frost. So that happens from December until early March. So the other week we had 2 days consecutive may frost. Oo. But anyway, yun ang inaano namin, masisira. But of course, we already have learned how to deal with the frost. So kung alam mo na may frost, yung mga farmers kumigising ng 3 o'clock in the morning, nag-i-sprinkler na yan para matunaw yung ice before sunrise. So that's what they're doing. So ayan, kaya akala namin, magtatanim lang sila ng ilang-ilang trees. Yun pala, ang gusto nila is a big area to be developed as a park. Diniting kanimanan na 3rd generation. Actually, Manunggay was here, the oldest of us among the 3rd generation. So nag-meeting na kami kasi 3 kaming pamilya na nagmamay-ari sa area na yan. Until we all agreed, pinahiram na namin ang 3.2 hectares to the province of Benguet and Kochi, Japan, to be developed as a park in 25 years. Usufruct agreement. So, ni Kusing walang pumasok sa amin, but whatever improvements they make stays with the landowners after 25 years. So, that is why we have the Sakura Park. Well, in the past, wala. Alam nyo, ang tourism ng Atok, aksidente lang nangyari yan. That is why we're not actually prepared. Di ba? Bago ka mag-open ng tourism, i-prepare mo muna bago dumating. Hindi naunang dumating ang mga tao before we prepare.
May social media.
Kasi because of the social media. Yeah, it's like, ang talagang business nila si Northern Blossom, siya ang taga-supply ng flowers sa dam. Sa lang, yes. So, yung brother ko, my youngest brother was in Japan before. Meron siyang binigay sa isang brother ko na seeds ng what's this? Cabbage rose. Yes! Cabbage rose na yan. O di inikan na nila di nakita na nagpintas. Di napicturan, na-post sa social media, na Jessica Soho, na tourism din. Bigla nga dati tourism din. Nung detoy, syempre tapos plus the Sakura man nung nga deta, ay alayan na may pamikanta yung titaktao.
Kasi di mo
So just imagine, we were, kasi si kami agsalud-suda, taga-ano kayo, taga-sayangan kami, ay, ijay pag-isbuan, kung na pag-isbuan, tayo let's stop over, umisbuti pasahero, kasi napakahaba nga galing sa Galagay, noon wala pa yung Nueva Vizcaya Road going to Ifugao. Isuka dito'y amin, isukat adati Banawi bus, hindi na yung magmag na dito'y. Yeah, it was like that.